Hello and welcome to Gut Spiller. My name is Joe. This is a new podcast I'm doing where I speak to my mates who I've got to know over the years in various bands and projects. And today I'm with Al from Boss Keloid. I always think when's the first time I met my guest, but when's the first time we met?
It was a Hicks gig, was it not? Yeah, my other band.
But we weren't, I don't know, that was just a very hi. We didn't really start hanging out at that point, did we?
No, I don't even think we even spoke at all. Well, I don't recall doing so anyway.
But that was like a more reggae style band that you used to have, right?
Yeah, reggae rock. And we had some big riffs in the Hicks as well, like some sneaky little riffs would pop out. But yeah, it was like a heavy rock reggae band before Skindred were cool. God, the first time we probably met was, it must have been a Kurikuma Boss Keloid thing where we proper spoke, maybe.
And then obviously we've been on tour together, short tour.
We hit it off, man. Now we're lovers forever.
Yeah. Well, I think Boss Keloid and Kurikuma, I think we got some crossover somehow. Like we don't necessarily sound like each other, but same vibe, same approach to music.
I think it's the stepping out the bracket. We both turn up to play these gigs where there's a lot of similar bands and we're just on the outskirt, just going, yeah, we'll bob and do our weird shit and then fuck off. And you guys do similar kind of things, so I think that drew us together more than anything. And I'm a massive, as you know, man, a massive fan of your band. So
I'm a massive fan of yours.
Well, that helps matters. Musical love.
And you're at your studios now because that's like your job to look after a rehearsal studio, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. I've run past 23 years, for 24 years, I've run a place in Wigan called Urban Sound. So, yeah, we make wigs and create music there. That's that.
Yeah, I thought you're looking quite hairy today.
Yeah, mate. It's the sun. It's the summer. The English summer sun does strange things to a bald man's head.
Yeah, like a garden of weeds, just shot up.
This is actually my gran's wig. I always like to give it a mention. I just thought I'd wear it for the start. But my gran, bless her, she's died now. She died when she was 93. And she always used to have this in a cupboard when I used to go around there. I used to dig it out and put it on and be like, hey.
Oh, did she actually wear it or was it just...
When she was 20 years old, man, she used to go to the cinema where you'd sit in the dark for 2 hours, whatever, and wear a wig. And apparently all young girls used to do that. Oh, we'll go in the cinema, we'll put our wigs on. And it's like, why the fuck? Are you sitting in the fucking dark?
So that's like a proper relic from the past.
This is old school, this, man. I don't know if you can see the badge in there, but it's very... I don't even think they make them anymore. But, yeah, old school wig. So as soon as my gran passed on, my dad, because it was her mum, he was like, do you want anything from the house? And I was like, the wig. That was it.
Well, back to normal now.
Yeah, sorry.
There we go. So I like to kick off each of these with best story from music, and I know you've probably got a few, but...
Well, I'll set the scene. There's two young men. That's me and Paul Swarbrick out of Boss Keloid, the guitar player. And we somehow, in our weird band, got to go on tour with Bongzilla in Europe. And one of the dates was with John Garcia out of Caius, who me and Paul grew up fucking idolising this guy, man. He was our... And we're like, fucking, how the fuck are we playing in France with John Garcia? So, we're buzzing, man. Bongzilla tour was what? Maybe about 5 years ago, something like that. Something like that. It might not even be that, but it feels like 5 years ago. So, yeah, we just played an awesome set at this great venue in France. John Garcia's headlining. We're buzzing, man. We get a few scoops down us, a few little tooty wooties. We go back in. John Garcia's starting. So we're buzzing, man. So we're backstage and we're watching from the side of the stage. But there was this curtain that at the side of the stage, and it was open, but we were like stood here, and we're like just like 1 Inch Man comes on, and me and Swab are just like, fucking this is the life, this, man, cheers. And we looked over and John Garcia turned around and spotted us and gave us the most nastiest look, man. And in mime form, he told us to close the curtains. So if you imagine he's singing like this, he looks, and he just looks again and goes. And we, seriously, man, our hearts dropped out of our asses. It was like we'd been told off by a head teacher and we were like 6 years old at school. Do you know what I mean? It was like, and it completely bummed us out. But I just always find that a funny story to tell, because it's like, don't get me wrong, them curtains probably should have been shut, and you know, and he probably didn't even know who the fuck we were. But yeah, that's a funny story. Another quick funny story is my old band that we touched on on before the Hex. We played a festival in Wigan, and we were a bit younger then, and we were giving it all the fucking thinking we're shit art, and we had a song called You Fucking Pig that was about the police, and it was policed, this venue. So I decided to be Mr. Big Balls and dedicate this song, this reggae song called You Fucking Pig to the police, and like got them all waving like over the mic. And then I thought, oh, they took that well. But as soon as we finished, man, they were like waiting at the bottom of the stairs for us, and I got escorted off the premises, and they checked my pockets and found a little bag of green in there and confiscated that. And I thought, fucking hell.
They got you back.
Got me back, man. Good and proper. It was like proper put a bummer on the day, but it's a funny little story to tell. Other than that, man, I could go on all night with, you know what Boss Keloid are like. They're a bunch of fucking weirdos, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, your video to Skipper's Pipes, I can't count the amount of times I've watched that, because it is an absolute, I mean, song aside, which is just non-stop riff machine, yeah. The video is bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers.
It was Stu, our drummer, who he just produced it all. We made a lot of it up on the spot, and it was all filmed at Swab's ex-house. And we just let Steve run with it. And he was like telling us where to sit. All right, I'm going to eat this licorice thing, and I'm going to go off my tits, and then you ask me where I'm going, and I'm going to say I've been for a chocolate. And we were like, what? What the fuck are you going on about, man? And he just directed it like that, and he took it home and put it all together. And then when he showed it us the first time, I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, fucking hell. So yeah, that is a great video, but that just shows the mind of Stephen.
Yeah, Steve, you know, obviously I'm a drummer myself. Steve is an amazing drummer. He thinks so much about what he does and puts a lot of thought and complexity into what he does, but he's also got a big say in what Boss Keloid is, right? Which is not always the case for drummers.
We all have. That's the beauty of the band, I think. It's just, if we all have to be super happy with it all. But Liam, our bass player, he's never happy with anything, so he don't give a fuck.
All right, well, both of your stories were they were like bummers, like you said.
Yeah, they were bummers, to be honest. Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right. Well, did you speak to John after or anything? Or
yeah, he was super cool, man. Like I said, I don't even think he knew who we were. He probably just thought we were a couple of strays having a beer, like peering near the curtain.
Maybe you thought, yeah, you just like wandered up there or something.
Yeah, but he probably wasn't there when we played, because we were like first on the bill. Do you know what I mean? So. Yeah, later we spoke to him in the parking lot, and he was dead cool, man. Yeah, so I'm not saying John Garcia is a dickhead, because he's not. He's very professional.
When you play with these people who've had like, you know, decades of experience playing, they approach it in a different way, don't they?
Yeah, 100%, man. You could tell he did that from the moment I saw him turn up to the venue. He was, him and his wife, I think... I presume it was his wife, but just like the merch setup they had, and the amount of merch, and the quality of his merch, and yeah, he was a very pro person.
Yeah. Well, if they're kind of two bum notes, what's your high point in music?
It's gotta be, man, just writing the weird music we do, and people actually liking it. I think just like turning up to a festival, say, and you're playing to like, I don't know how many people, and there's a bunch of people singing the lyrics you've wrote. I think that's the highest thing I could ever say. Like, better than any gig we've ever done. Just that people like invest so much passion into the band. Because our fans, whenever we speak to them and when we tour and whatnot, they're a bunch of passionate motherfuckers, man. They really are. And it's like, it gives me an absolute buzz inside. Like, you've got people saying like our music saved them and stuff like that, and you're like, whoa. Like, you never know what to say when someone says that to you, but that gets said a lot to us, which is weird. But yeah, that's the highlight, man. Just that people actually dig what we do, because we don't really. I know it sounds cliche, but we write stuff just to tickle our own bottoms. Do you know what I mean? If someone else's bottoms gets tickled, then it's it's good.
Well, there are two things I'd say to that. I think your band is very sing along, and I know you know you're not Doom, but you're part of the scene, or the stoner scene, whatever you want to call it, and your music is sing along.
Yeah, there's some big melodies in there, isn't there?
A lot of melody, a lot of choruses. Yeah. So you've got that going for you, but also your lyrics are very uplifting, and you do that consciously, don't you?
Yeah, but this is the weird thing. Some of the lyrics are about bad things, but I always try to put an uplifting look upon it, if you get me. But the pure subject is probably about someone that's fucking pissed me off or whatever. And then, like, when you got someone coming up saying that's helped me with my mental health, and I'm like, it's probably nothing to do with mental health whatsoever. But if they've took that from that, that's great, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I could never write lyrics like "Go kill a lamb, put it in the pan." Do you know what I mean? Go kill a lamb, put it in the pan. Nah.
Well, that's not you. You're a reggae guy.
Yeah, I don't even think if I got asked to join a band where they already had songs like that, I could bring myself to sing stuff like that. I mean, remember when I guested with you guys? I'm not saying you sing about lambs in a pan, but you just let me just do whatever the fuck I wanted over the tune, if you remember correctly, which was great, man. That gig in Sheffield. Yeah.
Well, that tune was about human sacrifice, actually.
Yeah, well, there we go. But I definitely did not sing anything about human sacrifice when I got up on the mic, like. But yeah, that was a good night, that one. I loved that.
That was one of the most hype gigs we've ever played.
And again, you must admit, man, I mean, that was turning out to be a bummer for you, because there was all kinds of shit going wrong, wasn't there?
At that gig?
Before, leading up to it.
George wasn't there because he'd got COVID, and then Andy and Matt had to jump in and like learn our songs in the tour bus.
Yeah.
From under.
Yeah. God bless the boys.
Yeah, it turned into a massive party in the end. So, yeah, it was a good memory, that gig. I'm glad you got up on stage with us.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I wasn't going to do it first though, because I just thought I think he even texted in us saying, "Oh, I'm having a night out, man. I'm not sure." But as soon as you guys got going, I was like, "Yeah, come on."
That's it. Well, going back to your lyrics, didn't you write a song about one of your friends that passed away?
Yes, that is the only one I really like to tell people about, because it was specifically about him. Yeah, it was a mate of mine called Leon. He used to come to my studios and rehearse a lot. He was in a band with his dad. And his dad, Steve, passed away recently, by the way, so God bless him as well. But yeah, Leon was this dude, man. He was younger than me, about 10 years younger, but he was just full of life. He absolutely lived music, man. I didn't even know he was ill until he just disappeared. I didn't hear from him, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then his brother messaged me saying he's not very well. He's had a brain tumour, and he's had it for like the past 10 years or something. But seriously, man, the way he went about life, you would never have fucking known that guy had something that heavy on him. And he just sailed through life, man, with a smile on his face all the way to the fucking end. Positive thinking is the only medication that you need. That's what he said to me, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man. It's like a guy younger than me going through so much, and he's telling me that, and I was just like, oh man, because no medication would ever make him better. So the only thing he could do was be positive until the very end, and he was. God bless him. But yeah, that song's about him. Leon Murphy.
And that, just say the song title on the album.
Précurvé, I think you pronounce it, but I struggle pronouncing Boss Keloid songs as much as the next man.
What does it mean?
Means nothing. I don't think. Swab would tell you, but a lot of them are play on words. Boss Keloid titles, again, just to hide a subject of what it's about. Maybe I think that's it's not secretive, but it's just. Do you know what I mean? Let people put that to themselves.
Obscure it somehow.
Yeah, completely obscure it, and doesn't really mean anything, the title.
Yeah. What's the kind of mission statement or the ideal that you have for yourself or with Boss Keloid? Because, like we were saying, you are a unique band. What are you trying to do? Or what are you trying to give or get?
I don't know, man. I think we're just trying to get through life, each of us, but we all love music. We've all found each other. We just make this music together and hang out, and like I said before, it's just like, and people enjoy it, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And then next minute, you're on a label, and you're like, what the fuck's going on here? And next minute, you have a tour manager, and you're like, what the we're going on tour? That's kind of how it's worked, man. So we're not really trying to achieve anything. Just to tickle our own bottoms, as I said before, and be creative, I think, is the best way to say it. But like the new album we're working on at the minute, man, it's very, very strange is the best way to say, and but it's sounding really, really cool. But again, it's like with no idea if people will like it or not, because it's different again. But it's just one of them. I'm not saying we wouldn't care if nobody liked it, but that's the way Boss Keloid flows. It's just like, off we go. And just...
I remember you told me before, because obviously Boss Keloid, it very much revolves around Paul, doesn't it? And the riffs that he brings in a way. And I remember you telling me before that I think at the start he didn't want to put his riffs out there, and then once you got going with that first album, it was just like you couldn't stop him.
He was like 33 when he joined the band, and he'd just been playing music in his bedroom, and I think he had built up a full-on fucking rucksack of riffs, man, of fucked up riffs as well. If you listen to Carnal Influence of Teeth, and yeah, the first 2 albums, Carnal Influence of Teeth, the EP before that, Angular Beef Lesson, and probably Herb Your Enthusiasm, but had a bit of stee in that. All them were sort of swab riffs, but as soon as we started moving on to Melted on the Inch and Thrush, we all started getting involved a lot more, because I started playing guitar on Melted on the Inch. So obviously I was throwing some stuff into the pan. Adam was when he was in the band. So it's kind of merged into a bit more of a team thing now, and especially this new album we're working on, it's like the most joint thing we've done ever, I think. But like Swab is all over it, man, doing the most weirdest shit you'll ever fucking hear on a guitar. I personally think I've got the best, weirdest fucking guitar player in the world in my band, and people need to take note of his playing, because it's not right, but it is.
Yeah, it's very unconventional, and it's not the kind of thing that sticks out. But when, like, I remember when we've played shows with you, and Jake, who often doesn't like even watch a lot of bands, he's been kind of like fixated on Paul, because I remember he said to me once, I could have no chance playing what he's playing.
Yeah, I'm the same. I can't play what he plays.
It's not. I don't think it's even that it's that technical. It's just weird, like you say. It's creating textures that someone else would not think.
No, yeah, that's completely it on the head, man. It's like your average Joe would not think how he does about playing guitar, and I think that's the beauty of his playing. I don't think he's ever had lessons. He just picked up a guitar and just started learning himself, and he's got a very strange style, but it's very, very unique, and it's a big, big part of Boss Keloid's sound for sure.
Have you got a controversial music related opinion? Something that kind of goes against the grain?
For the Scouts, yes, the Beatles are not the best band in Liverpool. 100%. There is a band called Metro Manila Aid, who are from Liverpool, or they split up now. And they have an album out called The Devil's Handbook, and it's 4 discs long, and it's like 12, 13 tracks on each disc, and it came out as a debut album. And they were one of the best bands in Liverpool, man. Forget the Beatles, which I know is not a popular choice to think, but forget the Beatles. Metro Manila Aid. Go look them up.
I don't think I've ever even heard of them.
Dude, go look them up. Devil's Handbook. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music as well. It's the only thing they sort of did, but it's like fucked up Tool with Scouts poetry over it, and then every now and again he breaks into like having a fit, and the riffs are dead interesting. Yeah, man. Metro Manila Aid.
Want to check out. You've turned me on to a lot of kind of cool shit. I mean, like that. We used to have conversations about the Verve, and their early albums. They were basically kind of shoegaze, weren't they?
Yeah, big time, man. Them first albums, but it was like no one was doing that shit in this country like what they were. They were the trippers, man. Like the first couple of Verve albums are incredible. Obviously, they went on to do like Lucky Man and all. Drugs Don't Work. That was late when they let. The problem is they let Richard Ashcroft get an acoustic guitar in his hand, and then he started going hey ho hey ho 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 he, rather than just here mate, smoke that. I've got this fucking tune. What, you gonna spit over it? But yeah, the first Verve albums, especially A Storm in Heaven, they're proper like it's one of my top stoner rock albums. Like forget about Caius, any of that stuff from America. The Verve, I would say they were from Wigan. They used to play all over the place. The drummer used to live next door. I don't know if I told you this story, but the drummer used to live next door to my mum and dad. And when I was first starting a band, I must have been about 14, 15, and I heard this guy drumming. And I went round with a little tape cassette and knocked on his door. And this woman answered. I was like, is someone drumming in here? And they're like, oh, it's my son. And he came to the door and I went, could you tape us some drum beats? I'm starting a band. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm a bit busy. I'm going on tour next week. And I just walked away thinking, dickhead. And I didn't know he was the Verve drummer. And then when I went home and was having my tea, I mentioned it, and my older brother was like, it's the Verve drummer, that. I was like, what? Nah. It's like, yeah. That's why he's saying he's going on tour. He's in the Verve. And I was like, oh, shit. But it was worth a try, wasn't it? I didn't know he was the Verve drummer.
I was hoping you'd say like, and I've still got them on tape. That would be sick, wouldn't it?
He gave it the old, I'm a bit busy, I'm going on tour. And I just thought he was telling me to fuck off, but he probably was.
Yeah. It's like John Garcia telling you to shut the curtain.
I know, man. All these rock heroes fucking me off. Must be because I'm bald. Mind you, I wouldn't have been bald when I was 14.
I can't imagine you with there.
You can.
Well, yeah. Okay, I can. Back on. Have you made any sacrifices to make music work in your life?
Lost me hair. Yeah, man. With the family, I've missed a few birthdays, which is never cool in my book. Just from being on tour and whatnot, and it's not good when you're away and all the family are partying for one of your kids' birthdays and you have to FaceTime. But I have always made sure that evening I've got the crowd or whoever's there to sing a big happy birthday, and then I'd send it along in a video. But yeah, I think, yeah, it's things like that really. Just when you tour, you're away quite a bit, and luckily I've got a loving wife and kids who've grown. I've always been in a band, so they've seen me around that kind of lifestyle, and they know that it's cool and they love what I do. So, but yeah, missing kids' birthdays has been a big thing that I've sacrificed, and money, to be honest, man. I could have probably got a better job years ago and could have been earning a lot of money, but I've always pursued some kind of career in music. Like I say, I run the studios, the rehearsal studios, which is my main income. So, but it doesn't make a mass amount of money. I'm not ashamed to say that. But I'm involved in music, so I'm happy, rather than working a awful fucking job and being super depressed all the time. It's like, so they're the things I'd say I'd sacrificed.
And you're working on your own reggae stuff, right? Kind of dub stuff.
Yeah, I still need a full-on proper name for it at the minute, but I think I'm going with The Wave, because it is like, it's a wave of music. But yeah, I've just got a little home set up there, and these are songs that have been banging around in my head for a long time, and it's very reggae-ish dub. Sit on the beach, smoke a massive doob, dip your toes in the sand music. It's proper chill, man. And I've been absolutely loving creating it. It's been an absolute joy to create. Just me, and I've got Steve. Steve's been involved, our drummer. I've just been getting him round, and he brings a bag of percussion. I'm just like, show him the track and go, right, I need something like this on that, and then he just off he goes. So there's a lot of percussion, man, because from a band that you introduced me to, Dijenga, it's all percussion based, man. That's the groove. So I've tried to use a lot of that kind of thing going on. There's a beat at the back, but a lot of it is percussion grooved, which I've been really loving doing.
The original instrument, the first instrument.
That's what it was, man. Tapping on a tree, wasn't
it? Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the band you showed us, man, that you enhanced my life. Mine enhanced terribly by showing us them.
I mean, I think it was Jake that showed me Dengue Dengue Dengue.
Is that as you pronounce it? Dengue Dengue Dengue?
Well, yeah, I think it's like dengue fever.
Is it? Yeah, all right. So it's just dengue.
I think that's how we say it. And one of my best ever gigs. I don't think you were there, but we played an APF all dayer at Rebellion. Must have been 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was in Manchester, obviously. And then we realised that evening that Dengue 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 were playing at, is it Yes, in Manchester?
Yeah. Fucking hell.
We were just on our phones.
Yeah.
And we just saw it. We had no idea, so we weren't planning to go. And then we were with Frenchie. Frenchie was there.
Yeah.
He'd never heard of them, but we were like, Frenchie, you're going to love this. Come with us. So we booked a hotel that night and just extended the stay in Manchester.
So were they on late? Because they always seem to play at silly.
Yeah, perfect. We finished the gig, and then we smoked a massive doob, and then just went and watched this Peruvian tribal, and they had the masks on, and it was just in the basement at Yes. So it was this little tiny space. It was so good. It's up there, top 5 gigs for me. That one. Yeah, I wish you'd have been there.
I just mustn't have known about them proper then. Because we keep looking to see if they're playing, we even said if they play London, I'd happily travel down there and have a night of that, do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they're always coming over. I'd say at least once every couple of years, because, in that scene of folk electronica, they're massive. They're one of the biggest, and
completely skipped me by them, man. So thank you for that recommendation.
Yeah, if anyone don't know, they're Peruvian electronic duo, and they mix their folk percussion and kind of ayahuasca rhythms and songs, or at least they did on their early stuff, and then with really modern production, really dubby, and it's just perfect when you're like stoned or whatever.
So many different rhythms in one song, because it'll start like, it'll just start on a beat and then another beat, and then before you know it, it's just this whole fucking beat that gets you like carried away. And every now and then they have like the odd vocal will creep in and stuff, but most of it's instrumental. But yeah, 100% check them out if anybody's into anything like that.
They were a massive influence on us. That's what
I can hear it,
what we used to aim for, really, but just in a metal band.
Yeah, I can hear that in Kurakuma for sure, man.
So what's coming up next for Boss Keloid?
Well, as I mentioned before, we've completely knocked gigs and tours on the head just to get our asses down in gear and get this new album written. Because tours kept coming up and we had to put it aside, which I'm sure you know, man. Then you've got to relearn a set, then your new stuff gets put on a back burner. So we just like, we need a minute to get this out. But we've got a festival coming up in November that we're playing. It's in July, in Nottingham.
Mangata.
Mangata, that's it, yeah. I always get it wrong, man. That's the only gig we've got, which is so fucking unusual for us to just have one gig, but we've purposely kept it that way just to get this album done. And yeah, I'd say we're about seven or eight songs. There's no vocals yet, but the music's there, and we're just refining it, and it's sounding really, really cool, man. And yeah, and we're looking at studios to go. We're trying to maybe go down a different path of where we record this time and how we record, and everything we're doing. We're sort of like looking at different options of how to do it. We've already had some talks to some labels who are happy to work with us when it's done, but they've not heard it yet, so they might change their mind. But yeah, so that's where Boss Keloid's up to. It's just writing at the minute and just really, really finalising this new album. Like I say, the music's down there. I'm at the point now where I'm bringing it home and I'm listening. I'm getting vocal ideas and little hums are going on in my brain, but I've not presented anything down a mic yet to the band or anything. So, but this is an exciting part. It's a stressful part, but it's also exciting. But on my behalf, it can be stressful because it's one of the main things that people listen to in it, the vocals. And if you do it wrong, I'm sure they'll fucking tell me, but when you first present something to the band, you're always a bit, fucking, are they going to dig this? Because I've suggested singing falsetto on a couple of parts, which I've never done before. And they were like, yeah, man, make sure you do that. So, fuck knows what's going to happen, man. Might be like the new Bee Gees, we'll see.
What are the lyrical concepts? What's it about? Is there a concept to this one?
There's nothing at the minute, man. Like I say, it's just music. So, but because I've been working on this new project of mine, which I think is going to be called The Wave, and it will be out at some point, I've been experimenting a lot with building up vocal parts to like almost like a choir, and predominantly having a high voice being the main voice, even though there's other voices there, but having a high voice as like the main vocal, which is weird, but it's sounding really cool. And when I've showed it to the other guys, they're like, oh man, you gotta bring that to Boss Keloid. And I was like, well, I'll try, do you know what I mean? So the experimental jar is like wide open, man. We're just going nuts on this one. Like if something needs a flute on it, it's going to be there. Anything we want to do, because we're all getting older now, and it's just like we really would just want to make this album like a full-on experimental masterpiece, if that can be achieved. But we'll see. Time will tell, brother.
And so where are you thinking of for recording? Or
we've looked at a few places. There's a place called, I can't remember. There's a place in, can't remember the name, man. There's a few places. I mean, Foal, we're not kicking Foal out of our brains yet, but we've recorded at Foal.
With Chris Fielding, right?
With Chris, yeah, who's an absolute beauty. Hello, Chris, if you're there. Yeah, Chris at Foal Studios is your go-to, man, if you're wanting something sounding massive. But this album, this is what I'm saying, it's not necessarily a massive sounding album. I'm not thinking it's not got a lot of hench. We're trying to back off on the hench, but they've still got the hench there, if you get me, by creating hench in a completely different way than just clicking on a distortion pedal. So we're experimenting a lot with that now, trying to make things heavy without them relying on a pedal, if you get me. Just by combining the bass and the two guitar parts together. So you're like, what the fuck's going on here? But it's heavy, but it's not, if you get me. So we're working a lot on that kind of angle of things. So again, that's why we're thinking we'll move away from working with Chris, because Chris is not specifically, but he's masterful at making things hench and distorted guitars, massive drums, and we seem to be going down a different angle, so we'll see. But I'm not sure where we're going to record yet, man. There's a lot of people we've been looking at and talking about, but that's another massive decision that you have to make, which I'm sure you know.
And you guys are like perfectionists, aren't you? Which makes everything.
We're just all like we know what we want to hear, and if we, like last time we recorded with Chris, I think we fucking pecked his head so much, man, on the mixing. Like he gave us a first mix, and we were like, we knew that's what he'd give us because it sounded fucking massive, but we were like, right, this sounds cool, but, and then we were just boom, 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 boom for about 3 days, pecking his fucking head. I'm pretty sure he was glad when we fucked off, but we got what we achieved. But it wasn't usually what Chris would provide, if you get me, especially the drum sound. We pecked his head a lot about that, and using different mics in different positions and stuff like that. So yeah, I wouldn't say we're perfectionists. We've all got this vision in our heads, but it's all probably a little bit of a different vision between each one of us. So you've got to meet in the middle somewhere and all be happy.
For sure, I see it like that, and then the producer becomes part of that. Like, it's like a tug of war, and everyone's pulling in a different direction.
Yeah, he's providing you with a plate of food, and not everybody likes the taste, so you've got to suggest changes in the recipe, which a lot of producers won't fucking even take that on. Do you know what I mean? They'll be like, that's my sound. But Chris was happy to really, really help us out in that way this time round. On Thrush. But yeah, we're looking at a load of different studios at the minute, man. Just seeing, we even looked at Rockfield. I don't know if you've checked that out, man, but the Rockfield Studios where like Bohemian Rhapsody was recorded.
Oh, really?
But it's fucking a lot of money. It's a hell of a lot of money. But you get like your own chef and shit. But I don't think we'll be doing that. Unless I sell one of my kids.
Need a big advance from the label to do that.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen anymore, does it? Let's face it.
Cool. Well, as always looking forward to new Boss Keloid. I get it in dribs and drabs on WhatsApp, so.
Yeah, I always send you little snippets. Because you do me, man. And, I've already heard the new Kurakuma album, and it sounds fucking mint. So, everybody look out for that. When's that out, by the way, dude?
We're just, like, we're working with Simon Glacken again, so he literally just sent me the press release to check over. So, we'll be announcing stuff. It will be announced by the time this episode is out. And the whole thing will drop on August 9th, I think it is.
I have to ask, are you doing vinyl this time round or not?
Yeah.
Yes, cool, man. Because I know I saw your video about how much you lost on the last one, I thought.
Yeah, we did do vinyl then, though. But, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, you did it then, didn't you? But that's what I mean. It's so expensive to fund vinyl production yourself, man. It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, we had to put down, over a couple of grand. But we're confident it'll go. The last one did, so... the recording's the worst part for me. This part, it's like, it is annoying, but it's all doable. It's the recording. That is the bit that you love and you hate, because when you get it right, it's like the best feeling of being in a band for me. Like, there's nothing better than getting that mix back where you're like, that's it. I have no feedback for you. And you're like, I've just made the music I want to hear and it sounds perfect. But when it's like close and things are a little bit off, and you're like, because like you say, the producer's got one thing in their head, they've got their own tastes and their own ideas about what sounds best.
Jacob's got something else in his head. You've got something else in yours, man.
That's it. Two quite strong personalities who have got very strong ideas about how they want it to sound. And it's, you know, you have to give in. You have to pick your battles. Like, there are things on the album that Jake wanted that I didn't. And there are things that I wanted that Jake didn't.
I think that's an important part, though, man. It really is. There's always going to be stuff that you weren't happy with, but the other person was. But who are you to be in a band and just go, fuck your ideas? This is what I'm doing.
There are bands like that.
Oh, 100%, man. I've been in bands like that. That's why I'm not in them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I look back, and I'm sure Jake would, I hope he'd say the same of me. You know, there have been times when I've fought for something, and then Jake has fought the other way, and I'm glad it went that way.
Yeah.
And then there were the others I regret, you know, that they didn't go my way, and I didn't fight a little harder for that thing, but it's part of the journey, isn't it?
Yeah, part of it, man. Jumping back to the Boss Keloid new album we're doing now, we're all adamant we're going to be 100% happy, and whether that takes us way more longer than what it normally would and cost us a lot more money or a label, we're willing to do that, because I'm 44, Swab's 45, Steve's 36, 30, I can't remember. Steve and Liam are a little bit younger, but me and Swab are nearly dead, man. We got to get this shit sorted and be happy with it.
So this is your experimental masterpiece.
I feel it is, man. Yeah, it's sounding really, really cool at the minute. I'm really buzzing about it. And every jam we're just turning up, like buzzing, like, come on, let's jump back on that bit we were working on. You know, it's a good time.
Oh, sick. Awesome. All right, well, have you got one last message for the people watching? And it could be anything. I feel you've always got some good advice.
Play a little song.
Yeah, sure.
Tune off the new album of mine, not Boss Keloid, sorry. Oh, wait a minute. So this is about a song about getting bummed for your money, man. Take all my money away. I got no pennies for my rainy day. You got to take all my money away. I got no pennies for my rainy day. You got to take all my money away. I got no pennies for my rainy day. You got to take all my money away. I got no pennies for my rainy day. 'Cause I don't like what's going on. 'Cause my people are struggling. Everybody's just carrying on, hoping that the tide starts changing. I'm struggling to play along without losing my patience. And everything has gone. Gonna be a little too late now. Take all my money away. I got no pennies for my rainy day. You got to take all my money away. I got no pennies for my rainy day. I have a mortgage. I pay taxes. Everything's going up, man, and no one's got no pennies for the rainy day because everybody's getting the money taken away. Savings, it's unheard of these days, man, because no one can afford to save.
That's why I've come to a foreign country.
You've done the right thing, mate. I think I'm going to come and join you. Is there enough room for me, Aston, the kids?
There is in this one, yeah.
You got a big place, yeah?
It's massive. Biggest Airbnb I've ever stayed in.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, because I've stayed in like 5 over the last few months, and when I turned up at this one, I was like, wow.
Huge.
It's just massive. I can like run up and down. I could do exercise indoors. But yeah, thanks for that. like you just live and breathe music.
Try my best, mate. It's better than living and breathing Coronation Street, isn't it?
Wicked. All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, and say hi to Ast. And yeah, I'm looking forward to when I can come back to one of your kitchen parties.
You're welcome anytime. Anytime, brother. Anytime. We'll do a cashew nut curry.
That's it. Wicked. All right. Nice one. I'll speak to you soon. If you enjoyed that, you'll be pleased to know I've got loads more episodes planned with guests from the UK and more further afield. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for those episodes. Peace.